Joel Keenan is back. Cambridge is blessed. As you all remember, I am sure, Joel was on CCTV for many years, and he's here to now tell us about...
Thank you, Santa. It is great to be back with you. Hello, Cambridge. It's been a long time. About 20 years ago, I had my own show here. It was called An Hour of Crap. It was fabulous, and it lasted until they found out I didn't live in Cambridge and kicked me off the air. It's wonderful to be back with you. I got a job, I got a family, I'm exhausted, and I want you to call in, please. 876-0055. 876-0055. Tell me how you're doing and answer this question. Now what? And here's what I mean. Let's back up to 1968, let's say. The presidential election, Nixon and Hubert Humphrey, George Wallace, who got shot, and when he did, a whole cadre of radical right, illiterate, retrobate, awful white trash people went into mourning. And those people now run the U.S. House of Representatives. Here we are, 50 years later, and that's the situation we're in. The country is in trouble, you know that. And there's nothing obvious to be done about it. We elected Clinton, we elected Obama, we elected Jimmy Carter, two brilliant men and an overeducated peanut farmer, and none of them has been able to solve this problem for us. We've got a Republican Party that effectively controls the country at this point. And we're in big trouble. I know you live in Cambridge and you're doing what you can, you're eating at Indian restaurants, and I appreciate that. But there's more that we need to do, and I'm honestly not sure how to go about it. 876-0055. I'd like to know. I've got 3 kids and I'm worried about them. Mike and I were talking about it before the show. Those of you with kids or with friends or young people who are going to enter the workforce, it doesn't look good. And it's not as it was for maybe you if you're my age in the 50s or thereabouts. It's a different world we're living in now, and it's not as good. And I don't know exactly how to go about fixing it. It's still our country. I'd like to come up with a solution if we could. So call and tell me what we should do. I'd like to know. 876-0055.
So Joel and I were talking before, and everything you say, of course, is true, but let me give the opposite also. I mean, in 1968, you were how old? What were you?
9.
You were 9.
Yeah.
So of course, the Senate was the Southern Republicans.
That's right.
Who were still in favor of Jim Crow.
Yep.
We just got the Voting Rights Act in '64 after Kennedy was killed.
Yeah.
So the world is very better in that we at least don't have Jim Crow controlling the Senate and the country. That's huge.
Good point, but wrong.
But good. I'm very glad you started with the positive.
At that time, we had guys like Howard Baker who were on the rise. As you know, a moderate Republican who was just a linchpin of the Republican Party at that time. And if you take his equivalent today, Susan Collins in Maine or whomever, they're outliers. They're pariahs by a lot of people's standards. And you know, it's not the same.
And your other senator quit, saying pretty much that.
Pardon me?
Your other senator quit the Senate.
That's right. Yeah,
saying,
that's right.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Annie, I'm on TV. I'll call you back. Okay. All right. Bye. It's a big difference, Mike. You know, in seriousness. These people who were responsible members of the Republican Party, gee, there was a Republican, as you guys remember, a great Republican senator from Massachusetts, a black guy, I forget his name.
Brooke.
Yeah, Brooke.
Yeah.
And he was a player, and these guys wouldn't have a chance of getting elected today.
What the Senate and the House did then was very much in favor of the Vietnam War. They both joined together. They worked together.
Right.
It was horrible.
It was horrible. It was a nightmare.
And we lost 56,000 Americans.
Yeah.
Way over 1 million Vietnamese were killed. That is not happening now.
No, it's not.
I just want to say all you're saying is true, but I think the opposite is true. and I have a hard question which you can ignore,
Okay.
because I think in many, many significant ways, life is getting way better, and certainly for you, hugely for you. What a beautiful life you're living in Maine. You're a doctor, you have 3 lovely children, you love your family, and that's new in our world. We didn't grow up like that.
We didn't. I'm really lucky.
No, you worked hard for that.
Oh, okay.
Very, very hard.
Okay, let's concede that point. But I'm talking about really where the country is headed.
Where is it? I mean, how,
as
is
a whole.
it as bad as the Vietnam War? Is it as bad as the Cuban Missile Crisis, where we were going to destroy the world over nothing?
I don't know
Is
how
it
to
bad? Or how about Central and South America, let alone Iran, where the United States government had trained people in the School of the Americas to be brutal dictators over all of Central and South America, as well as much of the world. That is not happening now.
Mike, first, I don't know how to compare something to the Vietnam War, which was a disaster and a catastrophe, as you know, and that was what it was. But there's a qualitative difference today that was not so then. I mean, at that time, keep in mind, we ended the Vietnam War. Or the American people, as you know, ended that war.
8 years later.
Yeah, 8 years later, but we did it.
Yes.
And
We've just ended 2 wars now,
We
Iraq
ended
and
2.
Afghanistan.
Gee, talk about looking for the silver lining. What are they, 10, 12, 14
but
years old, these wars?
No comparison.
No comparison,
Number of people
fortunately.
killed.
Yeah,
None.
no, that's a blessing. But Mike, come on, the country's in terrible trouble. Are you kidding me? Look at the income gap disparity between the wealthiest and the middle class and the poorest in this country. Look at the trend in middle class wages, the decline in wealth in this country among the middle class over the last 30 years. Look at the effective unemployment rate of about 20% right now, with really no significant hope for improvement. This is not good.
I totally agree, and I also would say that unemployment, now women are in the employment, and they weren't before, so they weren't counted in the same way. We have probably more of a percentage of men and women working now than we ever did. As far as income goes, the amount of amazing things given to us by our military, like the internet, smartphones, GPS, those are so extraordinarily wealthy gifts to all Americans. I told you I was working in the homeless wet shelter near here. They have smartphones.
You know, if I didn't know you better, I'd think you smoke a lot of marijuana or something, and that's why you're in such a great mood and have such a sunny
I'm seeing
disposition.
you. How could I not be in a
It's
good
just like,
Now, I have
wow.
the really hard question, which I'm sure you're not prepared for, is why, especially with your life and your children's life and your wife's life and my life, why, when things are getting so unbelievably better, did you ever believe you'd be living as good a life as you were living now? It was probably inconceivable to people like us who grew up so wounded.
That's not your question, is it?
Yes. I mean, it's 2 questions. One, and this is a hard one, you won't accept the premise, why not celebrate all that you, the people you know, and the world? Maybe there are some men in America, there's more unemployment, and that's really hard, and I'm not minimizing it. I taught in prison for 10 years. What they're doing to poor people in prison is just atrocious.
What's your question?
So, but I still think the world is getting way better. We were supporting military dictatorships all over Central and South America. They were brutal. Nicaragua, you know this better than us, as well as El Salvador, Argentina. This is not happening in Central and South America in the same way anymore.
It's true.
So it's really, so the hard question is, if you assume that life, as Moyers and Bill Gates both said, that the world is in better shape than it has ever been before.
I think that's true.
Less war, less people killed in war.
The world is doing better and we're doing worse.
Oh, we mean the United States?
Yeah.
Well, not you.
Oh, well then problem solved.
Yes,
What the hell do you think we're here to talk about, Mike?
How happy you are.
Hey, speaking of which, one other thing I want to discuss with you folks. God, what a great show it was, Breaking Bad. Have you seen it? And I just can't believe it was on the air. I'll tell you. Let me just briefly tell you how it was that I happened to see this. My wife and I went to see Dave Chappelle. Jesus Christ on Earth equals Dave Chappelle.
Wow.
And he was wonderful. Mansfield, Massachusetts, we saw him at. And at one point in his routine, he said, as you know, he walked away from comedy for about 5 years and went to Africa or whatever he did. And he said, I didn't really miss anything. And he paused and he said, Breaking Bad, as if to say that was the one thing of substance he missed in that time. And it made me watch the show, and boy, do I understand what he's talking about. My question is, how great was that? Call in, will you please? I'd really like to talk to you. 876-0055. It'd be so good to hear from you. Please pick up the phone. We might have just missed it. Here we go. Hi, caller. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi, thank you for calling. What do you want to talk about?
Hi, well, my suggestion to help the country would be to tax Wall Street. 1% sales tax for Wall Street. I think that would give us more money for social programs and then rein in the banks.
Speaking of which, we've got, don't hang up, don't go caller, because it's a great point. We've got guys who are making millions in a 15% tax bracket, and mine is 33. And I'm middle class. And as you can hear, I'm pissed about it. And this guy's making a sensible point. Yeah. It's a modest suggestion he's making. Just raise that effective tax rate up to my level and probably his level and yours. And we're talking about billions of dollars lost every year because of this.
Yes.
It's disgusting. And what he's talking about, there's zero hope of that happening. We're in a real bind here.
Actually,
and we are $15 trillion in debt.
Many of the Bush tax cuts have been, for the wealthy, have disintegrated because of Obama. They're not, the wealthy are paying more taxes now than they were under Bush. Minimally, Mike, and we haven't gone back to the effective tax rate under the Clinton administration, up to 39% for the top bracket. We're back to Reagan, actually.
The marginal tax rate for the highest bracket under Eisenhower was 95%.
Correct.
And was also the height of American prosperity.
Correct again. And I'm talking about getting back to get us back to 39%, for God's sakes. This is embarrassing. And people are getting hurt because of this.
I agree with you.
It's really not good. You're too damn cheerful, and it's starting to tick me off. Hey, this guy is right. We gotta raise taxes, Mike.
I agree.
Come on.
I'm agreeing with everything you say. I also think, as far as entertainment goes, the amount of entertainment we have now, great shows like Newsroom,
like a lovely show.
Breaking Bad.
Caller, have you seen Breaking Bad?
Unfortunately, yes.
Really? That's what you think?
Well, it glorifies methamphetamine use.
No, it does not. Come on, don't say that. It ruined, his family was ruined, lives were ruined. I won't give anything away. Crucial characters were killed. Come on, you don't mean that, caller.
I don't know, it looks pretty cool to have rooms full of cash.
Yeah, it does. You got me there. Thank you for calling. Good to hear from you.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
876-0055. Please pick up the phone. I'd love to hear from you. Tell me what you think. The economy, politics, Breaking Bad, The Newsroom, a great Aaron Sorkin show. There's going to be a third season, by the way. It's going to air in the fall. I've been watching reruns of West Wing. How sad is that?
That's
looking for the country I'd like to live in.
Yes.
I'm watching West Wing again.
You didn't have anything like that when you talk with 1968. Nothing. We got Archie Bunker and Mary Tyler Moore, which were great, but that was in the 70s.
That was in the 70s. Two good things that happened to us in the 70s.
The amount of brilliant shows we can get on cable, I have minimal cable.
It's unbelievable.
It's extraordinary.
It's really rich.
Well, on the internet. We didn't have the internet.
No, it's
either.
Good. It's a really rich time for television. There's Breaking Bad. You guys, I don't know. Don't be put off if you think zombies are not for you. The Walking Dead is a brilliant show.
Did you see Lincoln, the movie?
No, I don't watch.
You did not see Lincoln, the movie?
I don't. Oh yeah, I did. It was no good.
You didn't like it?
No,
because
his voice was too squeaky. It was.
So was Nick Lincoln's, I think.
There you go. It was probably a problem back then too. I can only work with what's in front of me, Mike. It wasn't pleasant. What's the one with the dragons? Game of Thrones, wonderful show. Take a look at that. Newsroom was great.
Yes.
And we'll get one more season of that before Aaron Sorkin goes off and does another.
And that's, I was saying to you also, the amount of courses you can take on the net are amazing. I'm in the Brothers Karamazov reading group, which we could never have then.
Mike, we were going to talk about it privately at some point. You were going to give me advice on how my kids, when they're out of high school, might get a good education that's affordable. I don't know that you have an answer to that. I don't
Well,
mean to put you on the spot.
what does Maine offer as far as?
They've got state schools.
Oh, so you could handle that.
Yeah, I could.
You have more money now than you probably dreamed of when you were, my roommate.
No, I've dreamt of having more money than I have.
Oh, you
Trust
did?
me on
Oh,
that.
you say I haven't.
I
Oh,
have.
good for you. Yes.
I have. I'm still in debt, man. Come
You're
on,
still in debt?
I got 2 mortgages, the office and the home.
Oh.
I'm just like everybody else.
Oh.
It's nip and tuck out there, Mike. We're not all sitting around eating
And you're
vegetables like you do.
supporting 3 children.
Right.
And
It's expensive,
Yes.
man. They need braces. My teeth keep getting cavities. It's a mess.
well, you have a wife who can devote herself to being a full-time mother.
Yeah,
That's
because she
quite
doesn't want to go out and get a job, but that's a separate issue. I'm
Yes,
not going to
but
go into that.
But you're making enough money. Most of us couldn't do that, I don't think.
Right.
See, you're a great gift to your children. I have
876-0055.
a hard
Please
question
give us a
is,
call.
since I think what we're both saying is right, why not have the perspective? This is a very serious question,
Yeah.
of how great life is for you, how great life is for the world, and we can do way even better. Why not speak from that perspective?
I'll tell you what. It's a good and fair question. The reason is we're right now in the grips of a Republican death grab around our throats, and it's hurting our country. And these people are messing things up, and we need to confront that. You don't, in the mid-1930s, see a fascist party in Germany rise to power and say, hey, but things are generally great in so many respects, let's focus on the good. You focus on the threat to your well-being, and you address it
Yes.
honestly.
Well, it's not the Republicans, it's the Democrats under Obama who are doing this NSA, which is extraordinarily frightening.
You're killing me.
And the Republicans are the spokesperson for the Republican Party, I forget his name, came out against this, whereas Obama gave this extraordinarily insubstantial speech. Didn't even follow the recommendations of his committee. So it's the Democrats who are a great danger to this country, and Obama.
Let me tell you something, my Cambridge hippie friend.
No one's called me that thank you for a very long time.
We need whatever President Obama says we need vis-a-vis national security. I do not want to blow up, and I don't want my kids to blow up. This is serious business. These people are trying to kill us, and they'll drop bombs, or they'll blow things up, or they'll shoot us. They'll do whatever they can, and they'll do it any way they can. And I don't care if the president or his buddy or his best friend or someone he hires is listening to my cell phone conversation.
Wow.
I want him to, and I want him to find out who's trying to kill my kids and kill them first. That's what I think.
So have you seen this great movie which you would love called Other People's Lives?
No.
Oh, it's about what the Stasi does when they have information on people. They can blackmail anyone. Hoover did this. Hoover did did you hear about the break-in into the FBI headquarters in
It's
1970?
just silly. You and I don't look at President Obama and see J. Edgar Hoover. You know that's not so.
I
It's
don't
just
agree.
silly.
I
You
don't
do
agree.
agree. You
No,
do.
I do
You do.
not.
You do. You remember Hoover, and that's not
Yes.
who he was. Come on.
Well, Hoover started. Roosevelt was president when Hoover
He
was
was
there.
a paranoid, anti-communist.
And why wouldn't somebody take this?
freak?
Why
is
wouldn't
what he was.
And you really, really think that with all this data, you won't have people using it? They've been using it as business espionage, you know.
No, I think it'll work out pretty well. I do.
Really?
Yeah,
Tapping
I do.
you?
I think it's working out well right now, and I want them to keep looking for those bad
They
guys.
have not found one.
I'm busy,
person
and I need them to keep looking for the bad guys. So
Well,
while I don't get
wow.
hurt and my kids don't get hurt,
This is very, very revealing.
is
Thank you.
that so wrong?
Yes. It's really wrong. It's really, really wrong.
876-0055. Please give us a call. We'd love to know what you think. Television, what did you think of Breaking Bad? National security, how to stop the Republicans, anything you want. Please pick up the phone.
Or why
877
people, with the world getting much better in many ways, although all the atrocities Joel says are true, why not look at things and from the standpoint of it's really getting great, but there's a lot we need to do anyway, which is what Bill Gates said in his annual report, and what Bill Moyers, a great critic of America, said in his annual report also.
Why do you think my friend Mike is wrong? 876-0055. Give us a call, please. We'd love to talk to you. What else is going on? What else is in the news? National or Michael Koran news or otherwise?
Well, you're back in Cambridge after all these years.
It's nice to be back here, not at night. The traffic is disconcerting because my vision is not what it used to be. I can feel...
Well, that's another great gift. I had cataract surgery.
You did? How'd that work out for you?
So the doctor was coming toward me.
Yeah.
And I told him, because my optometrist told me to tell him, that anytime anyone gets even close to my eyes, I jump.
That's a great reflex.
Yes, yes. And so I tell this to my doctor,
Yeah.
and he says, Mr. Koran, I've been operating on you for the last 60 seconds.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Wow.
And they lied to me.
Those guys are good.
And they lied to me. They said I had to choose between close or distant. So I wanted distant so I could not wear glasses when I'm on television.
Right.
And I can do both.
That's nice. So they just weren't over-promising, don't you think?
I don't think they knew that, but whatever. That's another great gift to this world. The medical, I mean, you're a doctor. The medical advances have been extraordinary.
And at no expense to anyone. It's worked out.
I'm on Medicare. No expense to me, man. And we got that. What a gift. I love this country for 3 reasons.
You're 65.
I'm over. I'm going to be 70.
Problem solved.
I love the library. Do you know the interlibrary loan now?
No.
You can ask for a book or a movie, and they'll get it from California for you if you want.
That's nice.
That's it. And Social Security is great. I get very little. You will get a lot.
We're all reading our books on phones now. You're the only one who reads actual books.
I love yes.
Yeah.
So that's
awesome. Why they're offering them to you from all over the country. Nobody wants them anymore.
The books, all right. Whatever it is, it's very. You can get CDs though. You can get movies. I could probably get Breaking Bad from the library.
Well, you could.
Or you could. Or
it's on Netflix, Mike.
Yes, yes. So I could.
Yeah.
Yes, I could. And that too is new.
Yeah.
So I still don't understand. With you, I mean, you're living a beautiful life. I've known you. Mm-hmm. You've been unhappy in the past for good reason.
Sure.
And now you love being a father and a husband and a doctor.
Mm-hmm. I do.
So where's the?
I'm worried. I'm worried about my kids.
What is the worry? What is the worry?
That they won't have the opportunities I have.
You kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
Opportunities? Well, you went to college, right?
Michael, have you noticed that the United States is going out of business? Where have you been?
One at a time. One at a time. The United States is not. No, the United States is richer than it's ever been in the past. Way richer.
Wow, are you mistaken? Wow.
Do you
know what our debt is?
Our gross. Well, who cares?
Okay.
I mean,
I stand corrected.
No, I mean,
no, that's an excellent point. Who cares? I forgot. Yeah, I forgot. Who cares?
We don't have
Thank
to,
you.
We don't have to pay that.
Okay. We don't have to pay. We don't have to pay. We don't have to pay. Come on. No, have some red wine.
We could.
Please.
What are you trying? We're sorry. We've just canceled our debt because we don't like the way you're treating your citizens. We could do that.
876-0055. Please give us a call. What's on your mind? How you doing tonight? What TV shows you watching? What would you like to talk about?
Your children are growing up way better than you ever did. Way better than we ever did. They were beloved.
That's a horrible point of comparison. I had a difficult, unhappy childhood. But that doesn't mean that because they don't, that everything's fine.
But almost all people did in that. And when you grew up, the women were trapped. There was no women's liberation. Men had to be. If you had any sensitivity, you were gay. This is a very much better world. Thanks for great struggles by many people. Why are you not celebrating? But I want to know the specific worry about your kids. What is the specific? They're going to have more money than you had to go to school. They're going to have a great father who can teach them math, among other things. A great father. Imagine, what would you have given to have a father like you? Are you kidding? Me too.
876-0055. Just a few minutes left. I'd really love to hear from you. It's been 20 years since I've been here. And oh, gosh, I want to know how you're doing. What's new? What's going on?
We have 2.5 minutes to go.
What do you think of Breaking Bad and anything else you want to talk about? I told you when we were having dinner before we came over, and I meant it, that I hadn't considered your perspective. I just had not. And so
why is that, though?
Hang on. I'll get to that in a minute. I'll get to that in a minute. But as I told you, I'm going to think about that. I think you're making a powerful point. I'm not sure you're right, but it's an important point.
And one corollary.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd be more? I don't know the answer to this. Do do you think we would be more effective saying how great life is and it can be even greater? I mean, the great people like Franklin Roosevelt was very rich. He helped change the country, right?
Yes.
Ike was probably a great leader because he wasn't political like other.
True.
Maybe.
I think that's
so
true.
could you maybe be an example? Life is great. What if he's talked that way? And I want to keep making it even better. I wonder what that would do politically. I wonder how that would sound. I don't know. But that's the truth with all these people running, right? These millionaires that are in the Senate. Life is great for them. And to say it is great, and I want it to be even greater for all of you. I'd like the whole world to have as wonderful a family and as beautiful children and as great relationship with their wife as I do, and would that be more effective to do what you want to do?
In answer, I'll point out just one fact to contradict your thesis that things have gotten better and better. When I finished college, it was about 81, and there was a recession then. And at that time, it was considered, and it was, a very serious recession. And it was hard to find work. And I lived through it, and it was painful. What we're living with now is far worse than what was going on in 81. And it's really not getting better. And at that time, Mike, women were counted in unemployment statistics. They were working then.
Yep.
And we're in much worse shape now than we were then.
We only have, unfortunately, 8 seconds. But we is not the world. China, India, Africa, South America are all doing better.
Wonderful.